Hi everyone, Harry here. If you remember my deep dive on the Ganway 3-in-1 doweling jig, you know I love a clever solution. But after months in my small shop, I found myself wishing for something even more precise, flexible, and compact. Today I want to show you how you can use this ingenious and resourceful self-centering dowel tool to your advantage. We shall build some accurate connections of wood boards which, thanks to its design based on clever geometry, make life in the workshop easier. Don't worry if this sounds confusing. I am going to walk you through all of the appropriate steps in detail. This unconventional tool outsmarts other tools and saves space in the process. In these first introductory shots of the dowel jig, I have presented all of its different parts, shot from a number of angles, so that one can get a good idea of what it looks like and how it is made. There is one clever part of its construction, which I shall explain in a minute. As I've shown here, the jig has a sliding part which moves on two guides set at 45 degrees to its top plane. If a wood board is placed in the space of the slider and the latter is moved to snugly contact the wood board, then the jig knows what is the thickness of this board and it sets itself so that its three drill guides point to the center line of the board's width. This is how geometry provides solutions. Here I just placed a board in the slider and brought the slider so it rests firmly against the board. Now the jig knows the thickness of this board. The top of the jig is cast with sharp pointers on its right and left sides. Once the jig has been fitted on the board, these pointers coincide with an imaginary line passing through the center of the board's width. Here the board is shown captured in the slider. Here one tightens the knob to secure the dowel jig on the workpiece. Once the dowel jig is secured on the workpiece, one has the option of drilling 3 holes on the board's edge. Don't forget to set the collar of the drill bit so it takes into account the thickness of the jig and its drill bit guides, as well as half the length of the dowel one will use. Here one repeats the drilling process on the left side of the board. Once the drilling is finished, one will clean the drill holes from all debris. Here are 6 holes drilled on the center line of the board. Here one prepares the jig for drilling the second board. One uses the Allen key provided to loosen the hex screws on the sides of the jig and remove its part with the bolt and knob. As can be seen, part of the jig is removed. A dowel is placed on the board that has already been drilled. This dowel serves as the guide that ensures the jig is placed correctly on the second board. Have you struggled with dowel alignment too? Tell me your horror stories in the comments. Which feature would you use most, centering, edge joining, or corners? Vote below. An identical process is followed on the left side of the second board. If you want to see more smart jigs for small shops, hit subscribe and tap the bell. Six dowels are inserted in the drill holes of the first board. Now, before we go to further details, I want to ask you something. How many of you have struggled with dowel alignment? And I mean really struggled, where you've drilled holes that don't line up or spent ages with rulers and pencils trying to get everything perfect. Drop a comment below and tell me your biggest doweling frustration. Is it alignment? Is it drilling at the wrong angle? Or maybe you're like me and you just want something that works every time without taking over half your workbench. Here are shown the two boards connected edge to edge. There are no protrusions and the two boards are at right angles to each other. This is a very good fit. Here one draws a line on the board where one wants to make the dowel connection. Let's not forget those pointers. They will be placed on the line that was drawn earlier. The drill bit guides are removed from this side of the jig. They are then screwed on the other side of the jig. Now you've seen what this jig is designed to solve. And if you're finding value in these practical, space-saving solutions for small shops, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and tap the bell. It really helps the channel, and it means you won't miss the next clever jig or tool upgrade. Right, let's continue with another application of the jig. I am sure you now realize that it makes all the difference. The jig has been placed so that its pointers lie on the line along which holes will be made for accepting the dowels. The jig has been used to have holes drilled on the right side and on the left side of the board. Check this out. Dead center dowel holes every time. No measuring, no marking, no second guessing. The self-centering mechanism does all the thinking for us. And it's not just for straight dowels, edge joining in any position you want, you name it, all in one compact jig that fits in any small shop drawer. This might just be the last doweling jig you ever need. Here is another good fit of the boards. They are now at right angles to each other. The dowel connection has been made along the line drawn earlier. Here is another example of connecting two boards. Once again, dowels are used as guides. Once again, this jig has produced a very good fit of two boards using dowels. If this 3-in-1 jig got your gears turning, check out the video shown in the next two screens. The original Ganwei review is included. It's where my obsession started. Or if you're itching for another tool upgrade, this bandsaw breakdown is a must-see. And hey, don't forget to join the crew by hitting subscribe. This is the doweling jig arrangement that my little jig can produce, and it is accurate as you've seen in the beginning of this video. All right, that's a wrap on my custom 3-in-1 self-centering doweling jig, 3 essential joinery tricks in one compact tool. If your workspace is as tight on space as mine, you know how big a deal that is. This little guy has honestly earned a permanent spot in my drawer. It's accurate, it's quick, and it doesn't eat up my workbench. What more could you want? Now, I want to hear from you. Did this solve a problem you've run into? Or have you got your own doweling hacks that make life easier in a small shop? Drop your thoughts and tips down in the comments. I read every single one, and your ideas often inspire my next build. If you want the link for this doweling jig, check out the link in the description. And if you're new here at the Foundry of Ideas, this is what we do. Smart, space-saving builds and honest tool upgrades for real-world workshops. Hit subscribe and ring that bell if you want more clever jigs and shop solutions that actually fit your space. It really helps the channel grow, and you won't miss the next project. Before we say goodbye, make sure you subscribe and leave a comment below with your own tips or questions. Your support not only helps grow this channel, but it also sparks ideas for future jigs, shop builds, and woodworking. Thank you for your support.